It's Mrs. Cerasaro, and today I'm going to be reading to you one of my favorite storybooks, Miss Smith's Incredible Storybook, and it's written by Michael Garland. Title page. Today was the first day of school, and Zach was waiting for his teacher. Boring, boring, Zach thought. Why would this year be any different from the last year? And then the door swung open. Good morning, class. My name is Miss Smith, and I'm your new teacher. Well, Miss Smith, she seemed very different, at least from Zach's other teachers. But the day went along like any other school day that Zach could remember until Miss Smith said the words, "It's story time." Well, she sat at her desk. She started to read from the book that she had brought. Zach couldn't believe his eyes. The storybook characters, well, they came to life in the classroom, and he was swept up in a swashbuckling pirate tale. Zach and the rest of his class were right in the middle of the story. He could feel the breeze in his hair, and he could hear the waves pounding on the side of the ship. Look, there's desks on this ship. From then on, Zach couldn't wait to go to school. Every day was a new story to look forward to. When Miss Smith finished reading, the characters and the adventure would whoosh back into the book. But on Friday, Principal Rittenrotten stood in front of the class instead of his teacher, Miss Smith. "Miss Smith's stuck in traffic," he explained, "so she asked me to read to you until she got here," he announced. Zach wondered what would happen next. Principal Rittenrotten started to read. Zach grinned when a princess leaped out of the book, followed closely by a fire-breathing dragon and a brave knight on his horse. Principal Rittenrotten was so surprised that all he could do was scream and throw the book up in fright. I'm going for help," he called over his shoulder, and he ran out the door. Well, before Zach could think of anything to do, Sue Ann pounced on the storybook. But she didn't finish the story about the dragon. She started reading another one instead. The princess, the dragon, and the brave knight did not return into the book, but the three bears and Goldilocks climbed out and joined the class. Freddie, who was the class clown, he jumped out of his seat, and he tried to yank the book away. When Sue Ann let go, Freddie tumbled backwards, and the book flew across the room. The whole class laughed. They thought that was funny. Billy caught the book and started reading a new story. Zach just shook his head. This story was about the Mad Hatter, the Cheshire Cat, and Alice. They popped out to join the others. Alice in Wonderland. So as the book was passed from kid to kid, one character after another flew out of the pages. The classroom was getting very crowded. "This is trouble," Zach said to himself. The chaos was beginning to spill into the halls. "Why don't you finish the story?" Zach pleaded. But no one was listening to him. Miss Smith brought her car to a screeching stop in front of the school. "Uh-oh," she said, "there seems to be a little problem." And she raced inside. She's running inside this school, and there's the classroom. And there's the roof with more characters. And there's a witch. Meanwhile, Zach was shouting at everybody, "We have to finish the story so the characters will go back into the book." But the storybook characters did not want to go back into the book. A big tug-of-war began. There's the students, they're tugging on a book against the characters. Wonder who will win. Well, Miss Smith, she appeared in the doorway, and with one look she let everybody know that she meant business. Even the dragon was suddenly silent. Zach handed the book to Miss Smith. She ruffled through the pages and adjusted her glasses. Then she started to read. The class sat spellbound as she finished each story in turn. With a swirl and a whoosh, one character after another disappeared into the book until the classroom was quiet and tidy again. Principal Rittenrotten and a team of firefighters skidded to a halt at the door, just as Miss Smith closed the book. "May I help you, Principal Rittenrotten?" asked Miss Smith. But the principal couldn't even answer her. He just stared at the quiet class with his mouth wide open. Miss Smith flashed a secret smile at her class, and Zach smiled right back. Who would have ever guessed that reading could be so much fun? And the last page has no words, it's just a thinking page. I see somebody who forgot to go back in the book. The end. Well, I enjoyed reading with you today. Thank you for being such a great audience. Take care, Hawks. I'll see you soon.